Hello everybody and welcome back to the Man United Rebuild Challenge, where we are only signing players that have 13 in work rate, determination or teamwork. In the last episode we got to the January point of season 2 and therefore there would be player movements. Leopold Kerfeld decided to move to Liverpool over us. Disappointing we didn't get to sign the centre-back wonder kid, but we did bring in Zlatko Zahovic as a new director of football, replacing John Murtough. And Zahovic has a place in my heart, really. But of course, it's January, we had some outs, and the first one to talk about was Christian Jakic. We bought him in at the beginning of last season, but he's gone on loan to Freiburg for more first-team football so that he can get into the Croatian national team. David Carmo then left. He moved to Saudi Arabia to go and pick up £96,000 a week, and although he was a good player for us, he won't be that missed. Charlie McNeil wouldn't sign a new contract unless he was a first-team regular, so he was shipped off for a bit of money to QPR. And Jadon Sancho finally left the club permanently, moving to Saudi Arabia, joining Al Hilal, earning £600,000 a week. And finally, youngster Amari Forson moved to Luton for first-team football. On the ends, we did bring in a handful of players, not too many, but it started with Jordan Zamira at left back for competition with Luke Shaw, bringing lots of physical and mental attributes. He should be a good signing. He wasn't the only left back, as Ridvan Yilmaz, the Turkish international, joined as well for more competition with Luke Shaw. Jakub Kiwior, the centre back, joined on loan from AC Milan after David Carmo left, just for a bit more competition. And finally, Vitaly Yalaut joined from Brentford for that holding midfield spot, giving us a pretty decent squad. The transfers look like this, and on the outs we had a total of £306 million raised this season, and we've only spent 183. The Glaziers will be delighted with that. It left the squad looking like this: decent goalkeepers, decent defenders all around, a very, very strong midfield, and a potent strike force including the likes of Rashford, Højlund and Ivan Toney. We were definitely feeling like we're going to go places this year, and we started off January doing very, very well. An unbeaten month and a very, very good result. We played Arsenal, Man City and didn't lose to either of them, which was great. But the highlight of the month was probably the Champions League game against Anderlecht, a 3-1 win, and we got off to a cracking start with Dan Gore practically scoring with his penis after a bit of pinball. It came out to Luke Shaw again. He put it down the line to Hannibal, who dinked it to the back post for Rasmus Højlund to get the second of the game, which was lovely. And then we went and got a third goal, another absolute classic Man United goal. Luke Shaw fired it hard and low. It sort of bounced around, hit Rasmus Højlund. He got his second of the game. But Anderlecht had the last laugh because Diawara put it into Hazard, and Will Fish inexplicably let the ball go between his legs. Not really impressing on his debut that much, but a 3-1 win gave us a good, comfortable place in the Champions League. Moving into February, and we took on Aston Villa. An early red card for Konza meant that we had this game pretty much wrapped up from the off. Rashford got it underway 1-0. Kobe Mainoo then took over, gave it to Dalot. He put a cross in. Toney got fouled, but Rashford poked home to make it 2-0. And then Douglas Luiz scored from the penalty spot after a foul from Diego Dalot, but we weren't done there. A third goal was wrapped up. Kobe Mainoo out to Dalot, fired it across goal, and on hand was Rashford to get another one for him. 3-1 and a hat-trick for Marcus Rashford. That would do us nicely. The next game, though, we went into the Carabao Cup and took on Arsenal. A great long-range shot was hit the bar, and Reece Nelson was on hand to poke home the rebound. Fresneda ran down the right-hand side, put it in a cross, and Ivan Toney at the near post beat Ergocan in goal to make it 1-1. But it was in the 94th minute. A corner was fizzed in, it was kept alive. Rice with a shot, it fell to Gabriel Jesus, and Arsenal knocked us out of the Carabao Cup, which was a bit disappointing, but we did get to the semi-finals of a competition that we don't really care about, to be honest. The rest of February looked like that. Some wins, some losses. Man City knocking us out of the FA Cup again was disappointing, but it all came to the head in the Champions League. A 3-1 away defeat to Villarreal was very, very quickly forgotten when we smashed them 10-0 back at Old Trafford. So moving into April, and we started off this month very well indeed. Fresneda giving the ball to Kobe Mainoo, who fired home to get our first goal of the month against Barcelona in the Champions League. It was Eric that got the equaliser from a Frankie de Jong corner, and at Old Trafford, would you believe it or not, Barcelona went and took the lead. Pedri firing past Onana as he was put through by Ilkay Gundogan, and Barcelona in the knockout stages had a lead to hold on to, and it looked like they were going to have easy work of it because Koundé laid it back to Ferran Torres, and in the Nou Camp, Barcelona gave themselves an increased advantage. Gedson Fernandes fed Mainu, he put it up to Højlund, who was partnering Ivan Toney in this one, and that got the game back level on the day. We were still behind on aggregate. Kiawar brought the ball out from the back, out to Zamora, who was playing left back in this one. He crossed it to super sub Garnacho, who made it 2-1 on the day to Man United. Zamora came forward again into Kobbie Mainoo. Kobbie Mainoo looked to cut back, and he found Ivan Toney, who made it 3-1 on the night, which meant we went through 4-3 on aggregate with a fantastic performance in the Champions League. And that is how the month wrapped up. A lovely 5-0 win from Fulham, sealing that month to be superb. But then we went into what Sky Sports would dub Amazing April, as we had to take on Chelsea, Man City, PSG twice, and Liverpool all in the same month. And Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea all in a title race with us. We did take Chelsea on first, and Gedson Fernandes curled a lovely finish against Kepa to make it 1-0 to Man United. And then Mason Mount got on the assist sheet as he swung in across to the back post, and Schlotterbeck was there to head home. 2-0 United, we took charge, and that knocked Chelsea out of the title race. Up next, cross-city rivals Manchester City, and this was settled with a 1-0 win. Rasmus Højlund getting the goal, but all the thanks go to Andre Onana picking up man of the match and a very solid defensive effort from absolutely everybody. Next up, we took on Liverpool. They visited Old Trafford in these Premier League games, and it was carnage. Darwin Núñez put them 1-0 up, and this was first v second in the league. Rasmus Højlund kept the ball alive. James Ward-Prowse squared it to Fernandes. His shot was blocked, and Luke Shaw fired home with Alisson Becker slightly out of position. And from there, we just dominated the game. Gedson Fernandes into Fresneda. A nice little 1-2 with Ward-Prowse, and he finished off firing past Alisson, again sending the Old Trafford faithful into raptures. We won the ball in midfield through Ward-Prowse. Toney put it into Mainoo, into Garnacho, and he loves a little super sub goal, does Alejandro Garnacho. 3-1 to United, but we wanted another one to really rub it into the Scousers' faces. Dalot got in the ball, crossed it into Ivan Toney, 4-1, and we had taken charge in the title race, being the sole leaders at this stage. Next up though, we did take on Everton in the Premier League to wrap up the Premier League fixtures for this month, and Kobbie Mainoo fired in past Jordan Pickford, finding the top corner of the net to make it 1-0, and then we wrapped up the win with Nico Schlotterbeck getting the goal to make it 2-0 in a game that Everton didn't do very much with only one shot on target. But it was the Champions League quarter-final knockout against PSG, which was the big games of this month, and we got into those first leg at home, and it was Asensio at the back post who rose highest to put PSG 1-0 up. It was then another really well worked goal as Dembele ran through using his pace, fire past Onana, and PSG took a 2-0 away win in the first game of the quarterfinals. So we went to the Parc des Princes having it all to do, and somehow the ball fell through to Rashford. His shot was deflected past Donnarumma, and we were 1-0 up in the Parc des Princes. However, PSG weren't going to let us get away with it that easily. Vitinha put through from a well-worked effort, made it 1-1 on the day. And although we made attacking substitutions, one of which was Rasmus Højlund, and he came on and scored, it was too little too late, as that goal in the 89th minute allowed PSG to secure their way into the semi-finals. But all in all, a very good run in the Champions League. It does give me hope for next season that we could go and win it. Disappointing that we've lost to PSG twice out of 3 times this season, but we'll always have that 10-0 smashing of Villarreal to remember. Hopefully next season we go one step further, if not 2 steps further, and win old Big Ears. So we got back to the league, and the final game of the season was a game against Southampton. If we win this, we won the league. Ivan Toney got us off to a fantastic start, putting us 1-0 up, and Gedson Fernandes put the ball out to Fresneda, and we were in our stride. He jumped over a tackle and made it 2-0 for an easy win, with Southampton not even registering a shot on target. But it did mean we were champions. 38 games played, 28 wins, 6 draws, 4 losses, 90 points in total. 2 points ahead of Liverpool, who we did actually play twice in the last couple of months of the season, which was a little bit strange. But we did wrap it up very nicely, and Marcus Rashford was the top goal scorer, pipping Haaland and Calvert-Lewin to that accolade. Some fantastic performances. Fresneda won the Young Player of the Year, 28 appearances, 6 goals and 8 assists. He did really well. And then in the Team of the Year, it was dominated by Man United players, with only Curtis Jones, Salah, Rico Henry and Aaron Ramsdale not the United players. Into the review, Ivan Toney got awarded an A+ rating from the board for his signing, as did James Ward-Prowse. Like, they delighted the fact we weren't giving him a huge wage. And also Giorgio Scalvini, the young, enthusiastic wonder kid centre-back, was proved to be a delightful signing by the board and fans alike, which was lovely. Of course, our biggest win was the 10-0 over Villarreal. A 6-1 win over Leeds was the match to remember, and the draw with a 2-2 draw with Napoli is where James Ward-Prowse scored a wonderful free kick. Finances wise, we didn't get any new sponsorship deals, but our revenue sort of took hits and did better in certain places, with Rashford being our top selling shirt player, which is great. There are a number of records that we broke, the most impressive being Diego Dalot's 23 assists in one season, which is absolutely bonkers, to be honest, but it worked out very, very well. A very good season where we won the Premier League, the Carabao Cup semi-finals, the Champions League quarter-finals, and the FA Cup fourth round. Hopefully we can improve next season. Hopefully we can retain our title. But that win, that streak, gave us 399 million in the bank and a transfer budget of 246 million pounds. So we asked the board to invest, and they did. 2.5 million went towards the club's training facilities, so they'll be improved in October next year, and 2.7 million went to the youth facilities, which again will be finished in October next year. But it leaves us with this squad. How can it get better? Where can we improve? Can we retain our Premier League next year? If you're enjoying this series, please do leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.